The main drivers of all these things are external, it's the sun and the moon, then they're going to have to ditch their man-made climate change theory. And that is the core of their belief. That is the core of their belief system. Longer range view is that we are heading towards a mini ice age, and we'll be well into that. It'll be at its coldest in about 25 years' time. We're going to see more of these cold or very cold winters with extraordinary blizzards in them, and more lousy summers, both in Britain and Europe and in the US. Standard meteorology looks at the weather now, sees how everything's moving, and then says, well, if that's moving towards this, something will happen, and then it will do this and that, and they can predict forwards. However, after about 4 days, it breaks down. It becomes very inaccurate. That is, there's external influences driven from the sun and the moon interrupting the flow of charged particles from the sun. Now, this solar-lunar influence dictates the changes in the jet stream. But the jet stream is the general track of the low pressure systems around the polar regions. So they go one way in the northern hemisphere and the other way in the southern hemisphere, which are the changing weather pattern. And what we've had in the last 6 months especially, and it's going to carry on this year, is significant jet stream blocking, whereby the jet stream is kept in more or less the same place. For that has caused the super heat wave in Russia, caused the floods in Pakistan, and they'll do anything to say it's all caused by CO2. They come up with cooling is warming. Somehow CO2 has caused some warming somewhere, which has caused a change in circulation, which has caused these blasts of cold air. Well, it's complete nonsense, because we can predict these blasts caused by solar lunar influences. Nothing whatsoever to carbon dioxide. The sun drives it, and the main climate driver is through magnetic effects involving charged particles modulated by lunar influences. And the main cycles of weather observed on Earth are, in fact, solar-lunar driven. The 60-year cycle in the Pacific temperatures and American temperatures is a solar-lunar effect. There's a lot of things on the sun which are happening, which we can't see, but we nevertheless know they happen and change the way in which the solar wind gets to us and the magnetic linkages, and we can predict some of those very well. Like, we know there's certainly going to be shock waves, if you like, in the solar wind, some of which will help blocking and give us, for example, a cold blast in Britain or America if the blocking is in a certain place, and others lead to the jet stream being more mobile and milder in the northern hemisphere. And we can distinguish between these two types of effect, generally speaking. In terms of activity on the sun, the important thing is it spins around on its axis, so something that happened 27 days ago may come back in 27 days to every 27 days, because it spins relative to the Earth in 27 days. But at the same time, it changes on its surface, so you can't rely on that. Solar flares come in bursts of typically every 155 days on average, which is quite an important thing. There's many cycles and subcycles on the sun. They know they're lying, but of course there's big interest attached to it. They want carbon trading to make fast bucks. They want to control the development of energy trading around the world. They want to control agriculture a lot more. And they want the population to be stupefied and brainwashed and to actually desire to pay taxes to save the planet. There's never been a movement in the history of the world before where people have been clamouring to pay taxes for any reason. Now, this is a fantastic opportunity for all tax collectors and governments. This is a fantastic opportunity for tax collectors and governments. The global warming scam is worth billions. They're not going to give it up lightly. Billions. See, the global warming scam is worth billions. they're not going to give it up lightly.